Alright y'all, welcome back to the channel and to some more turkey patterning. And I've got another combination out here today that we haven't tried, but it's one that I don't have a whole ton of confidence in. But we just don't know until we actually try it. So it might work, but I have serious doubts. So for the shell I've got out here today, I brought out some more of these. These are the B&P Magnum Turkey shells. They are a 12 gauge, 3-inch, 2-ounce load of lead 6s, moving about 1175. And to be honest with you, these have been very underwhelming shells. They kind of look more like a waterfowl pattern most of the time. So I have serious doubts that they're actually going to do anything amazing or impressive through today's setup, but we just don't know unless we try it, I suppose. And speaking of today's setup, I brought out the Remington 1187 here with this choke, and it's been a little while since we've seen it on the channel, but this is a Carlson's Longbeard XR 660 constriction turkey choke. Now, I don't think we've tried those B&Ps through a 660. I know we've tried them through a 655 and a 665, neither of which have really produced anything amazing for us. So who knows, maybe by some miracle 660 is the perfect constriction for these shells, but I have my doubts. I hope it proves me wrong, but going off of our previous testing, I don't have super high hopes for it. But as for our test, everything is the same as always. We have our turkey target set up at 40 yards. I have my chronograph, so we'll be able to get our speed and how close it is to the box claim. So let's get you guys set up with a view of this turkey target, and we'll take our shot, look at our chrono, and go down and see how it actually performed. I hope this proves me wrong, but I don't think it's going to be anything amazing, unfortunately. So let's get everything set up and take this shot and see if maybe we might have a miracle happen today. Okay, so that round gave us 1225 through our chronograph. The box was claiming 1175, so we're 50 feet per second above their claim, which 1225, that's pretty much right perfect where I'd want to be for a load of lead 6s. So not too bad or anything weird to see as far as velocity goes, but how did they actually perform as far as pattern is concerned down at 40 yards? Let's go take a look and see. All right, so now we're down here at our 40-yard paper, and this is what we got. Now, before we even mention the rest of the pattern, I do think we have a dead turkey. There is one through the brain, but as you can see, there is a distinct lack of shot on that bird's head. If we back up and look at the rest of the pattern, that 2-ounce load of number 6s gives us a lot of pellets on paper, but they're just not anywhere close to where we would kind of want them to be. It's just rather interesting that there is a distinct lack of shot right where we would want it in that pattern. Now, as for the rest of our pattern here, as we can very clearly see, it is not even close to what I would call a turkey pattern. If you could still use lead for ducks, that would be an excellent small duck load, because there's nowhere on that 36-inch piece of paper that it would be able to fly and get away. So once again, you have a ton of shot in that 2-ounce load, but it's just not at all condensed. So very, very clearly not at all what I would call a turkey pattern. I mean, I guess it's relatively even. There are a few voids in it, most notably right there where we would want it to be on his head area. So it's just, once again, not impressive. Now, with that being said, I do think this is probably the best pattern that we've gotten out of this particular shell. Now, very clearly and obviously, that's not saying a whole lot, but in comparison to our previous test with this particular shell, I do think that Carlson 660 Longbeard choke is the best performer so far. So at the end of the day, would it be able to take a turkey at 40 yards? Probably so, but absolutely not a combination that I would want to use. Okay, and here's the wad out of that shell, and immediately we can pretty much see why this shell does not perform even close to what I would call a turkey shell. This is very obviously a target style wad, and it looks like one you would use in a load of 2 3/4 inch, like 7.5 shot skeet loads or something like that. I mean, you can see the width of my thumb there is how wide that actual part of the wad is. It's not at all a turkey style wad, and it absolutely does this shell no favors at all having 2 ounces of shot in this short of a wad. Just nothing about how this shell is loaded really is ever going to work together how we would want it to for a turkey shell. I think it has decent potential if they would have just used a full length wad, kind of like the Longbeard shells use. But they went with this and it has failed. So I'd say this wad alone is pretty much the reason why we see the performance that we do out of these shells. All right, y'all. Well, what did you think about that performance there? It's pretty much exactly what I expected to see. And if you've been following along with these shells and seen any of our other tests, it's probably about what you expected to see as well. It's just not what I would call a turkey pattern, and it's definitely not a shell that I would want to use for turkeys. And as we can clearly see, the way that that shell is loaded with the amount of shot and the wad that they used, it's just not going to work out well for a turkey shell. But I guess we do have to say again that this is the best performance we've seen out of this particular shell, firing it through that Longbeard XR 660 choke. But clearly, it doesn't get us a whole lot of anything advantageous, that's for sure. But as always, leave your thoughts about it in the comments. Is that about what you expected to see? Were you hoping for better? Have you tried these shells? And how have they done for you? And if you think that there's a specific choke or constriction of choke that would somehow really wake these shells up and actually get them to perform well, then by all means, let me know your guesses as to what might actually work as well. I doubt that there's going to be a whole lot we can really do about it, but I don't know. Maybe somebody has a better guess than I do. But either way, I've got a bunch more testing coming y'all's way, so I'm going to get back to it. As always, we have the channel Instagram as well as a mailbox where you can send things. If you're interested in any of that information, it'll always be in the description for you. So I'm going to get back to the testing, and I'll see y'all in the next one.